Took a nice profit to break these highs, and ultimately that gave me my five winning days, and I was able to get a payout, a Topstep payout, off the back of this specific trade. So this really ended the week for me. Nice big strong move, and I'll go through a full breakdown of the trade now that the market's closed. There's a bit more time to actually go through in detail what actually happened, what I was looking at the time, and basically fully break down how this trade occurred and what my logic was. So we'll take a look at this move in gold. So if we go back and replay from basically where I was looking at, this was priced just before I entered. You can see as we come down, cumulative delta on the bottom here is there's some aggressive selling coming in, right? And you're expecting maybe this is the next leg down, but as we come down, we can see, if we look at the cumulative delta, right? So at this point, if you have a look at this low here, so this low over here, corresponding with this low, we've now broken this low, right? On cumulative delta, if you look down here, we have not broken that low. So this is the same low on the cumulative delta. We're still above that, so we haven't broken it. So there's aggressive selling coming in here as we're coming down, but the sellers are not able to push price. So this to me looks like there's a little bit of absorption going on, right? So we've got aggressive selling coming down, but cumulative delta is still above where price is. Price is breaking the low, but the aggressive selling isn't continuing through the low. So that's telling me that there's a divergence. And at this point, that's where I started to get really interested, and I switched over to to take a look at the actual volume within the bars. This shows the delta down the bottom as well, so you can see here the negative numbers. So that's the negative delta we were looking at. Aggressive selling, all the way down as we drop. We can see now. We can start to see down here. We can start to see volume being put down in at the low. So we can see a high volume area here, 22, 26. So these are high volumes that are starting to be put in at these lows, right? And this bar here was the first sign that there was some serious absorption going on. So we had strong negative delta coming down. This bar here flipped. It's basically a little indecision bar. The high volume, we had strong high volume still, and then we went from minus 69 delta to positive 22 delta. So within this candle, we had aggressive selling at the low, and then the sellers couldn't push price any lower, and we had a positive delta on the bar. So that's the first sign to me that there's some absorption happening. So when I saw that, I started to really pay attention. And then as we play on, I was still basically looking for price to come back above these highs to get in. So I was getting very interested in the long at this point, and then we had this candle. So in real time, we had a drop under, and then I saw this massive 44, this massive 44 volume get put in here. And then we immediately shot back up, right up into here, and the delta flipped. Huge volume. So if you look at this volume, 220, 165, so down here we've got 220, 165, 153, 178, 107. So as we're coming down, the volume's still pretty strong around the 200, 150 to 200. And then on this candle, we had 532 in volume. So massive volume. Delta completely flipped to a positive 48, and we trapped this big order down here, 44. So at this point, I got in about halfway up this bar, and then once we closed up here, I added to the trade. And essentially the story over here, now you can see on the delta, we had very strong aggressive buying in this bar, huge volume, and then essentially I just rode the bar out to the top. So we took the trade off up here, full out there. So that was the best trade for the week, and that was the trade that put me over the line to get the 5 positive days to get a Topstep payout. I went in pretty big on this trade. The reason being is everything lined up. Everything said to me that there was some strong aggressive sellers that were trapped at this point. That was the trade of the week. So I'll try and do more of these. I'll try and do the best trade recap each week with a bit more of a breakdown just on the trade, the context, and specifically what I was looking at. Because with the live trade videos, it's a bit hard to juggle getting in and then recording and then trying to talk about what's going on. So it's a bit easier to look at it after the fact and really dive into what was going on here and the reason for getting in. So I think it's a huge benefit to look at cumulative delta and volume. 80% of my strategy really is what price is doing and the volume profile in general. So I could trade without these tools, but this will show you really fine detail on what's happening with the buyers and sellers, and it will really pinpoint when people are trapped, and you can get into some really good trades. So hope you liked it, and we'll see what trades come up next week if I do trade that much. And I'll just try and do one of these trade recaps each week, highlighting the most interesting trade that I found from the week.